Every time I felt completely alone, she appeared. Not once. Not twice. Every single time. She knew my name before I spoke. She knew my memories before I shared them. She knew every fear I had buried deep inside my heart. But nobody else had ever seen her. One night, I asked a waitress, "Did you see the girl sitting across from me?" The waitress looked at the empty chair, then back at me. Her smile slowly disappeared. She whispered, "Sir, you've been sitting alone for over an hour." That was the moment I realized. Either the girl I loved never existed, or the entire world was blind to her. His name was Noah Parker. He was 24 years old and lived in Seattle, Washington. From the outside, Noah looked like any ordinary young man. He worked as a junior architect. He paid his bills on time. He smiled politely at coworkers. He greeted neighbors. He looked normal. But inside, he was carrying a loneliness that no one could see. 2 years earlier, Noah had lost his older sister, Sarah Parker, in a tragic car accident. Sarah had been more than his sister. She had been his best friend, his biggest supporter, the person who always believed in him when he couldn't believe in himself. After she died, the apartment became quieter. Birthdays became painful. Holidays became empty. And Noah slowly stopped living. He was surviving, not living. Every evening followed the same routine. Return home. Heat frozen dinner. Watch television without paying attention. Scroll through his phone. Sleep. Wake up. Repeat. His coworkers invited him out many times. "Noah, come with us. Maybe next week." There was always another excuse. Eventually, they stopped asking. Loneliness doesn't always arrive suddenly. Sometimes, it quietly moves into your life, one unanswered message at a time. Seattle was famous for rain, but Noah had never hated rain until that night. It was almost midnight. He couldn't sleep. His apartment felt suffocating, so he grabbed his jacket and started walking. The streets were almost empty. Streetlights reflected on wet sidewalks. The city looked beautiful, but Noah couldn't feel anything anymore. He reached the small bridge overlooking the lake. It had once been Sarah's favorite place. He leaned against the railing, closed his eyes, and whispered, "I wish you were still here." A cold wind blew across the water. Then, a soft voice answered behind him, "So do I." Noah turned around immediately. A young woman stood a few feet away. She wore a long white coat. Dark brown hair moved gently in the wind. Her eyes carried both sadness and warmth. She smiled softly. "You shouldn't stand alone in places that make you cry." Noah frowned. "Do I know you?" She shook her head. "No." "Then how did you know I was crying?" She looked toward the lake. "Because I came here for the same reason." For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Then she walked beside him. "My name is Emily Hayes." "Noah." "I know." He stared at her. "You know my name?" She smiled mysteriously. "I know more than that." Emily looked across the water. "You still blame yourself." Noah's heartbeat quickened. "What?" "You think if you had convinced Sarah to leave 5 minutes later, she wouldn't have been on that road." Noah felt every breath leave his body. He had never told anyone that. Never. Not even his parents. "How do you know that?" Emily didn't answer immediately. Instead, she asked, "Does blaming yourself make missing her easier?" Tears filled Noah's eyes. "No." "Then maybe it's time to forgive yourself." Noah stared at her. Who is she? How could a stranger know the one secret he had hidden from the entire world? An hour passed without Noah realizing. For the first time in months, he laughed. A real laugh. Emily smiled. "There it is." "What?" "The smile you've been hiding." Before Noah could reply, his phone rang. It was his mother. He answered. "Hi, Mom." She sounded worried. "I've been trying to reach you." "I'm okay. Come visit tomorrow?" He smiled. "I will." After ending the call, he turned toward Emily. "I think things might get better." Emily smiled gently. "I'm glad." Then she began walking away. "Wait." She looked back. "When will I see you again?" She smiled sadly. "When you need me." And before Noah could ask another question, she disappeared into the rain. The next few days felt different. Noah visited his parents. He cleaned his apartment. He finally accepted an invitation to lunch with coworkers. For the first time in years, he felt hope. He returned to the bridge every evening. Emily never came. Not once. He smiled to himself. Maybe that was a good sign. Maybe he really didn't need her anymore. One Monday morning, a new architect joined Noah's office. Her name was Grace Miller. She was cheerful, confident, always carrying coffee. She introduced herself immediately. "So you're Noah." He nodded. "And you're Grace." She laughed. "Good. I was worried I'd have to introduce myself." Over the following weeks, Grace slowly became Noah's friend. She encouraged him to join team lunches. She teased him when he worked too hard. She always noticed when he looked tired. One afternoon she asked, "What happened to your smile?" Noah looked surprised. "What do you mean?" She smiled. "It feels like you're smiling with your mouth, but not your eyes." Nobody had ever noticed that before. Everything changed again one Friday afternoon. Noah received a phone call. His company had lost its biggest client. Several employees would lose their jobs. Nobody knew who. Fear spread through the office. That evening, Noah walked home alone. Rain started falling again. His chest felt heavy. Old loneliness returned. He reached the same bridge, closed his eyes, and whispered, "I thought I was getting better." Then, the familiar voice returned. "You are." He turned around immediately. Emily stood there, exactly as before. Same white coat, same gentle smile, same mysterious eyes. "You came back." She nodded softly. "You called." Noah sat beside Emily on a nearby bench. "I looked for you every day." "I know. Why didn't you come?" Emily looked at the city lights. "You weren't alone." He frowned. "What does that mean?" She smiled sadly. "You only see me when your heart forgets there is light." Noah stared at her. "I don't understand." "You will." She gently touched his hand. Her touch felt warm. Real. Completely real. "You'll understand sooner than you think." The next morning, Noah visited his favorite cafe. Still thinking about Emily. The same waitress served him. She smiled politely. "Just one coffee today?" He nodded, then carefully asked, "Can I ask you something?" "Of course. I was here last month. With a girl." The waitress looked confused. "I remember you." Relief spread across Noah's face. "You do?" She nodded. "You sat near the window." "Exactly. So you remember her?" The waitress frowned. "No." "You were alone." Noah's smile slowly disappeared. "What?" "I remember because you spent nearly 2 hours talking. But there wasn't anyone sitting across from you." Noah felt cold. Completely cold. He slowly looked toward the empty chair beside him. His hands began shaking. If Emily wasn't there, then who had held his hand? Who knew his secrets? Who made him smile again? And why? Did she only appear when his heart was breaking? That night, Noah searched everywhere for answers. Then he found something hidden inside Sarah's old memory box. A faded photograph. In the background, standing beside Sarah, was a young woman wearing a white coat. The same smile. The same eyes. The same face. "Emily." Noah whispered in disbelief. "How could my sister know you, years before I ever met you?" Noah Parker believed he had met the most mysterious girl in the world. Emily Hayes only appeared when he felt completely alone. Nobody else seemed able to see her. The waitress insisted he had always been sitting by himself. Yet inside Sarah's old memory box, Noah had found a faded photograph. Standing beside his late sister was the same young woman. The same white coat. The same gentle smile. The same eyes. Only one question remained. Who was Emily Hayes? Noah sat on his apartment floor all night. The photograph trembled in his hands. On the back, Sarah had written only one sentence. "Some people don't enter your life to stay forever. They enter it to help you survive." No date. No explanation. Nothing else. Noah looked at Emily's face again. She couldn't have looked exactly the same years ago. People change. Hair changes. Faces mature. But Emily looked untouched by time. It was impossible. Yet the picture was real. The next morning, Noah visited his parents. His mother was surprised to see the photograph. "Where did you find this?" "In Sarah's memory box." She smiled sadly. "I haven't seen that picture in years." Noah's heartbeat quickened. "You know the girl standing beside Sarah?" His mother's smile slowly faded. She looked carefully at the picture, then frowned. "There isn't anyone standing beside Sarah." Noah stared at her. "What?" "I only see Sarah." He looked down. Emily was still there, clearly visible. He looked back at his mother. "You really can't see her?" She shook her head. "Noah, are you feeling okay?" A chill ran through his body. Back at work, Noah couldn't focus. Blueprints blurred together. His thoughts stayed with Emily. Grace Miller noticed immediately. "You've been somewhere else all day." Noah forced a smile. "I'm just tired." Grace didn't believe him. She handed him a cup of coffee. "My grandmother used to say something." "What?" "If you're carrying something too heavy, don't carry it alone." Noah almost laughed. If only she knew. That night, rain fell again. Noah walked to the bridge without thinking. Emily was already there, as if she had been waiting. She smiled softly. "You found the photograph." Noah stopped walking. "How did you know?" She looked toward the lake. "Because you were supposed to." He held the picture in front of her. "My mother can't see you." Emily nodded. "I know. The waitress couldn't see you." "I know. My coworkers can't see you." She nodded again. "I know." Noah's voice shook. "Then tell me the truth." She looked into his eyes. "I will. But not tonight." Instead, Emily sat beside him. "There are things you should understand first." Noah listened carefully. "You've noticed something." "What?" "I only appear when your loneliness becomes louder than your hope." He slowly nodded. "Yes. When your heart begins believing nobody cares. That's when I find you." "Why?" Emily smiled sadly. "Because nobody should stay in that darkness forever." Noah whispered. "But who are you?" Emily looked at the stars. "Someone who reminds people they're never completely alone." Over the next month, life surprised Noah. His company kept every employee. The lost client returned. Grace convinced him to join a weekend hiking trip. For the first time in years, he genuinely enjoyed life. He laughed often. He started drawing again. He even visited Sarah's favorite places without crying. And during all those happy weeks, Emily never appeared. Not once. At first, Noah missed her. Then he began worrying. Had she really disappeared? One evening Noah stood alone on the bridge. "Emily?" Only silence answered. "Please." "Nothing." He smiled sadly. "I guess you're right. You only come when I need you." As he turned to leave, he heard footsteps. His heart leaped. But it wasn't Emily. It was Grace. She laughed. "I knew I'd find you here." Noah looked surprised. "How? You disappear whenever you're thinking too much." She handed him hot chocolate. "I figured bridges and rain probably go together." He smiled. "Thank you." Grace looked at him quietly. "You've changed." "In a good way?" "The best way." That weekend Noah continued sorting Sarah's old belongings. Hidden inside one of her favorite books, he found a sealed envelope. Across the front she had written, "For Noah, when you're finally ready." His hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Dear Noah, if you're reading this, it means you've survived longer than you ever believed you could. I'm proud of you. I know you. You'll blame yourself after I'm gone. You'll close your heart. You'll stop believing people stay. Please don't. There will come a day when someone reminds you how to smile again. Don't be afraid to let them. Love is never replacing someone. Love is learning your heart can grow bigger. If you keep choosing life, one day you'll understand everything. Love always. Sarah." Tears rolled down Noah's face. He folded the letter carefully and whispered, "I miss you." Winter arrived. One snowy evening, Noah received terrible news. His father had suffered a heart attack. Noah rushed to the hospital. Hours felt like years. Doctors worked through the night. Finally, one doctor approached. He's stable. Relief flooded Noah's body. But emotional exhaustion overwhelmed him. He walked outside into the cold night, sat alone on a bench, and quietly cried. Then, a familiar voice spoke beside him. You stayed strong, Emily. She was back. Noah smiled through tears. I knew you'd come. She nodded gently. I always do. Noah looked directly at her. No more secrets. Emily stayed silent. You owe me the truth. She took a slow breath. Do you remember the first thing I ever told you? You said, I shouldn't stand alone in places that make me cry. She smiled. Because loneliness can convince people of terrible lies. What lies? That they're forgotten. That they're unloved. That they'll always be alone. She gently held his hand. I'm here because your heart needs hope. Noah whispered. But you're real. Emily smiled. Does something have to belong to everyone before it can be real to you? He couldn't answer. The following afternoon, Grace visited Noah at home. She noticed 2 cups of tea on the balcony. Were you expecting someone? Noah looked toward the second chair. For a second, he could almost imagine Emily smiling there. He quietly replied, I wasn't alone. Grace studied his expression, then gently asked, Can I tell you something? He nodded. When Sarah passed away, you stopped letting anyone help you. She smiled kindly. But lately, whoever or whatever reminded you to live again. I'm grateful for it. Noah looked at her in surprise. She didn't ask questions. She didn't judge him. She simply accepted that something had changed. That evening, Emily appeared one last time. The city lights reflected across the quiet lake. She looked peaceful, but there was sadness in her eyes. You've changed. Noah smiled. Because of you. She shook her head. No. You chose to heal. He looked worried. What happens now? Emily remained silent. Then finally whispered. When people stop believing they're alone, they stop needing me. Noah's heart dropped. What are you saying? She smiled through tears. If your heart keeps healing, this may be our last goodbye. Noah felt panic rising. No. Emily gently touched his face. You have something beautiful waiting for you. I don't want beautiful. I want you. Emily's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, she looked heartbroken. Then she whispered, If you choose to stay in your pain, I'll always be here. But if you choose life, I'll disappear. Noah stood frozen. The impossible choice now stood before him. Keep holding onto the mysterious girl he loved, or continue healing and risk losing her forever. As Emily slowly stepped backward into the falling snow, she whispered one final sentence. Love isn't meant to become your prison, Noah. Then she vanished into the white winter night. Noah felt his knees, tears filling his eyes. Because for the first time, he realized that letting go of the person he loved might be the only way to truly live. Noah stood alone on the snow-covered bridge. Emily was gone. For the first time, the silence felt different. Not empty. Not frightening. Just quiet. He looked at the place where she had disappeared. His heart wanted to call her name. His mind wanted to run after her. But deep inside, he remembered her final words. Love isn't meant to become your prison, Noah. He closed his eyes. A single tear rolled down his face. And for the first time, he didn't ask Emily to come back. The following weeks were the hardest Noah had ever lived through. Every evening he returned to the bridge. Every evening he hoped to see the white coat, the gentle smile, the warm eyes. But Emily never appeared. Not once. At first he felt abandoned, then angry, then empty. Finally, he understood. She hadn't left because she stopped caring. She left because she had already given him everything she could. Hope. During those difficult weeks, Grace stayed close. She never forced Noah to talk. Sometimes she simply sat beside him during lunch. Sometimes she left coffee on his desk. Sometimes she texted only one sentence. Don't forget to eat. Small things. Simple things. But Noah slowly realized something. Real love isn't always dramatic. Sometimes, it's someone quietly choosing you every day. Spring slowly arrived in Seattle. Trees filled with fresh leaves. Flowers returned. The city looked alive again. One Saturday morning, Grace knocked on Noah's apartment door. She held 2 hiking backpacks. No excuses today. Noah laughed. I wasn't planning any. They spent the day walking through the mountains. For the first time in years, Noah noticed how beautiful the world really was. The sound of birds, fresh air, sunlight through trees. Grace smiled. What are you thinking? He looked around quietly. I forgot life could feel this peaceful. That night, Noah dreamed of Emily. She stood in the same white coat beside the lake. But this time, she looked brighter, healthier, almost surrounded by light. She smiled. You look happy. He smiled back. I think I am. I'm proud of you. He walked toward her. I miss you. Emily nodded gently. I know. Can you stay? She shook her head. My place was never beside your sadness forever. She looked toward the sunrise. It was beside your loneliness. Until you remembered how to walk toward the light. Noah reached for her hand. For just 1 second, their fingers touched. Warm. Real. Then she slowly faded like morning mist. Before disappearing completely, she whispered, now go live the life you were afraid to love. A few days later, Noah's father recovered enough to return home. The family gathered together for dinner. Afterward, his mother brought out an old wooden box. I almost forgot. This belonged to Sarah. Inside were dozens of letters. One envelope had Noah's name. He opened it carefully. Dear Noah, if you're reading this, then you've made it farther than I ever dreamed. I always worried about one thing. Not that you'd stop loving me, but that you'd stop loving life after I was gone. Please don't. Missing someone isn't a reason to stop living. Carry me with you. Not as pain, but as love. Whenever you laugh, I'll be part of that laughter. Whenever you help someone, I'll be there. Whenever you choose hope instead of fear, you'll find me again. Love never disappears. It simply changes where it lives. Love. Sarah. Noah cried quietly. But for the first time, those tears didn't feel hopeless. They felt grateful. Several weeks later, Noah visited an elderly librarian named Mrs. Eleanor Brooks. She had been Sarah's favorite storyteller. Noah showed her the faded photograph. Mrs. Brooks smiled gently. You finally found it. You can see Emily? The old woman nodded. Yes. Noah leaned forward. Who is she? Mrs. Brooks looked out the window. Many years ago, my grandmother used to tell children a story. A story about a girl who appears when lonely hearts forget they're loved. Noah listened carefully. Some believed she was only a legend. Some believed she was a dream. And some believed she was simply the kindness already living inside people. She looked back at Noah. I don't know which answer is true. But perhaps, not every mystery is meant to be solved. That evening Noah returned to the bridge one final time. He held the photograph, Sarah's letters, and the silver pendant Emily had once given him during one of their conversations. He looked toward the quiet lake, then smiled. Thank you. The wind moved gently through the trees. No answer came, only peace. He placed the pendant inside his pocket, not as a reminder to stay in the past, but as a reminder that even the darkest nights eventually end. Then, he turned around and walked home. Without looking back, months passed. Noah and Grace spent more time together. Movie nights, coffee shops, bookstores, long walks through rainy streets. One evening Grace laughed. You smile with your eyes now. Noah laughed too. I had a good teacher. Grace looked confused. What do you mean? He smiled softly. Someone once reminded me that loneliness doesn't get the final word. Grace gently took his hand. I'm glad they did. Exactly 1 year after Emily disappeared, Noah organized a community event called You're Not Alone. People gathered to share stories, to listen, to support each other. Some spoke about grief. Some spoke about anxiety. Some spoke about hope. Noah stood before everyone. Years earlier, speaking to strangers would have terrified him. Now, he smiled warmly. If there's one thing life has taught me, it's that asking for help isn't weakness. It's courage. The room filled with applause. Grace watched proudly from the front row. After the event, Grace invited Noah to the same bridge where everything had begun. The city lights reflected beautifully across the water. She smiled nervously. I have something for you. She handed him a small box. Inside was a silver bracelet. Simple, elegant. On the inside, 3 words were engraved. Keep choosing life. Noah looked at her with tears in his eyes. I love it. Grace smiled. I love you. For a moment, the world became completely still. Noah remembered the frightened young man he used to be. The one who believed love always ended. The one who believed loneliness lasted forever. He gently held Grace's hands. I love you too. As they stood together, a soft breeze crossed the bridge. Noah looked toward the far end. For just one brief moment, he thought he saw a familiar figure. A young woman in a white coat, standing beneath a streetlight. Emily. She smiled. Not sadly. Not longingly. Just peacefully. She lifted one hand in a quiet goodbye, then slowly disappeared into the falling evening light. Noah smiled through tears. He didn't chase her. He didn't call her name. Because now, he understood. Some people enter your life not to stay forever, but to help you become the person you were always meant to be. Years later, Noah became a successful architect. Grace became his wife. Together they opened a small community center where people could talk openly about grief, loneliness, hope, and healing. On the entrance wall, a simple wooden sign welcomed every visitor. It read, "No one should have to carry their sadness alone." Whenever someone walked through those doors feeling invisible, Noah greeted them with a warm smile. Because once upon a time, someone had done the same for him. Whether Emily had been a guardian, a dream, a mystery, or the deepest part of his own hope, it no longer mattered. What mattered was this. She had taught him that healing doesn't mean forgetting the people we love. It means carrying their love forward while continuing to live. And Noah finally understood something Sarah had always wanted him to know. Love never truly leaves. It changes shape. It becomes kindness. It becomes courage. It becomes hope. And sometimes, it becomes the quiet strength that helps us choose tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, remember this. Even in your darkest moments, you are not truly alone. Healing doesn't erase the people you love, it allows their love to become part of the life you continue to build. If you enjoyed this emotional love story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unforgettable stories filled with mystery, romance, hope, and heartfelt endings. Until the next story, take care of yourself and never lose hope.